70% coming over the next few months to you, and you can, sell it so you have your money back, you should do that. It's not a bad idea. Even if you really believe in it, if you put in 5,000, you can take your 5,000 back out. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. And, as long as you're not market selling on the order books, take your profit out, because then it's free roll. I probably have like 14 or 15 projects right now where I'm in that position, and every month it's like a paycheck, and you're like, sweet, I can either hold it because I believe in the project, or I can, sell it. So you give yourself an opportunity like that, and then you can kind of like sit back and relax a little bit. And I think like as a trader, it's great. It's like a supplemental income almost. I mean, almost every day of the month, I get an allocation. So these are opportunities that can be there. And obviously the reason why I say take your capital out, because cash is king. And if the market turns against you, you don't want to end up with bags like you did in 2017.
I wouldn't say cash is king anymore.
Okay, Bitcoin's, you know what I mean? Bitcoin's king. I stack Bitcoin and ETH 90%. The cash that I use is so I can live and my kids can go to school.
That cash is king thing is very interesting, because there's this idea that like, if you go to buy something from Craigslist and you show up and you're like, oh yeah, but I got cash, that like people are going to give you a better deal or like whatever. Like that's really, in my opinion, like kind of archaic. Like that's not a real thing anymore. Like now,
if you live in Thailand,
I got Cash App. I got Venmo. I got whatever. Like everybody has money all the time that you can spend. It's not like, I only have this cash right here. I'm just talking about like that kind of old school, like negotiating, like Craigslist kind of mentality. We're moving to an all digital world, and everything's going to be done digitally. But I think that, I do think you're right on. I mean, you do have to take some money. Like don't get any of this twisted. Like by the time the crypto markets collapse, I think this is an interesting question we should probably get to. Which is, I'm a strong believer that September 28th, 2021 is the peak of the Bitcoin bull run. And that's my plan to cash out is probably before that.
I said October 2021.
October 2021 is the end of altcoin markets because they usually go a month after. September 28th, 2021. That's the day. I mean, that's 504 days from the halving, which is basically when it should happen. But what do you guys think? Like what I was gonna say is, don't get me wrong, like trust me, I'm cashing out at some point, and then I'm gonna short the out of it all the way down. Like I wish I would have done the last bear market.
I don't think it's gonna
what
go
do you guys
down
think?
as far this time.
I don't think it is either. I think you're right.
We have a bunch of hodlers this time. Like the institutions are gigantic hodlers.
Yeah. I agree. I don't care if the price goes down, institutions either. So
I'm thinking it's sell in May and go away. In other words, all the equity market seasonals, like right now we're in the Santa rally, right? Never fade the Santa rally. Then there's the January effect, right? Whatever happens the first week in January has implications for the rest of the year, right? And then the next big one where you got to watch out for the corrections is sell in May and go away. And, the way corrections work in equities that scare people to death, I mean, not so much in crypto, right? But, it's probably 30, 40% in one day. And then it resets itself and then it goes back up again.
Now, if we go back and look at the last,
everybody wants to buy the dip in Bitcoin. And I'm like, no, you don't. If there's a real dip in Bitcoin, you won't want to buy it.
Right.
So if we go back and look at all the last halvings, every bull run lasts longer, but the ROI is not as big. But I think this time around, that could be different, where the ROI is massive and it lasts longer.
Yeah.
Well,
go ahead.
What'd you say?
No, the market's also getting bigger. If you're, I had this conversation with one of my friends from one of the owners of DuckDAO today, because we've been buddies for years. And we was talking about like, he's like, yeah, this is so crazy. And I'm just like, dude, you know what the crazy thing is? Microsoft is 3 times bigger a market cap than the whole entire crypto market, period.
Right.
And
Snapchat is worth more than ETH.
Yes, Snapchat is worth more than, like,
I go on these TV shows and I'm like, Chainlink's $5 billion.
Yeah.
We're just so early. Like, people
the
don't
Fed
get
flosses
it.
his teeth with $5 billion.
Yeah. Like, we're so early. All you guys watch these things and you think, oh my God, these guys are doing so well. Like, you have no idea what's about to come.
No clue.
You have no idea. Even us, I saw BitBoy. I saw you say something like, I mean, we've been waiting for this for 2 years, and I can't, even when I'm seeing the market do this, I'm even like, wow.
Yeah.
We're all like, wow. And the thing is, it's just the start of this. For like the next 10 years, this is going to keep happening, but we're going to go through cycles. So just be prepared, and get ready to have a huge shift. If you're in crypto now, be ready to be one of the people that shift from, the wealth, going from all these huge rich guys to being able to be one of them, and you're going to be rich, not with cash. You're going to be rich with Bitcoin, Ethereum, with Polkadot, all these big projects. You're going to be very wealthy with those. And that's going to be what you're going to use in the future to buy your house and your car. I tell people this all the time. Bitcoin is not going to be used to buy coffee. That's what XRP will be used for. Bitcoin is going to be when I want to buy a new house, here's a Bitcoin, here's 2 Bitcoin, whatever it is. Or I want to buy a Lamborghini, or I want to buy just a regular car, I'll buy it with Bitcoin because it's worth a lot. And
buy American, get a Hellcat. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think we may actually, in this cycle,
the Bitcoin will take 30 minutes to transact. Who gives a crap? It's going to take longer to do all the paperwork.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
I think in this cycle or the next cycle with Bitcoin, we may see even greater Bitcoin returns because neither of the past halvings had a huge printing of money. Like, because we track Bitcoin returns versus US dollars, like first we have the effects from the halving, the diminishing supply, but then also this time we have the effect from insane devaluation of the currency, the US dollar.
I think that's why we're looking at, like, look, guys, if anybody watching my channel, they know when I make predictions, I stand by them. I do not change them based on fluctuations of this or that. So I have made prediction of 225K Bitcoin. I made it at the beginning of last year, and I'm sticking out. So I'm sticking with that. That is my whatever. However, I do feel pressure to change it. Like, if I was a person that changed it, I would be changing it because of exactly what Randall is talking about, which is we've never seen what we're seeing right now with the money printing. So when we look at the last I'm so big. If someone who's watching this is not watching my channel, I'm so big on believing in the power of the Bitcoin cycles. And so I look a lot at the history of the previous Bitcoin cycles to determine what's going to happen in the future. I don't get caught up on the charts. I don't care what the weekly chart looks like over the last 6 weeks. Like, I don't care. I look at where we should be based on the cycles. Okay. And so, for Bitcoin for this bull market to last longer than September 28th, that means that it would have to do something, for it to last a month longer, 2 months longer, 3 months longer, a year longer, like a 2.5 year bull run or whatever, it would have to do something different than it's always done before. Now, at some point, Bitcoin will do something different than it's ever done before. I don't know what that will be. Maybe when it hits $1 million and it stabilizes, when like one Satoshi is worth about a penny now or whatever, that could be the case. But until Bitcoin does something different, I'm going to keep going with history. And so when we look back at the history of the last bull market, the Bitcoin all-time high was 1121. That was the number it had to hit. When it finally passed over 1121 and it went up, when it hit 20,000, that was 17.8x its previous all-time high. And we've seen that the volatility has actually already over the first 3 cycles has lessened a little bit each cycle, right? So like if we were to say it lessens just a little bit and it goes up 15x, okay, well, now we're talking about a $300,000 Bitcoin, which lines up exactly with what the stock flow chart says, what the Citibank, what the Citi report said, what a lot of people are saying around $300,000 Bitcoin. However, it would not take much. The really interesting thing, if you guys study the stock to flow chart, if you guys have looked at the stock to flow chart, it is not like incremental, like 5 is here, 10 is here, 15 is here, 20 is here. It's like 0 is here. I'm trying to show this. 0 is here. 1,000 is here. 10,000 is here. 100,000 is here.
It's a logarithmic scale.
Is a logarithmic scale. Thank you. Exactly. So what you're seeing is that if Bitcoin just goes slightly above where it's estimated to be on the chart, on the stock flow chart, it could easily get to $500,000. It's not a huge jump. And when you combine the money printing and the devaluation of the US dollar and say, if it just hit 17.x, if it just did what it did last time, it would be $360,000. With the money printing combined, I think we are potentially looking at the most bullish case ever for Bitcoin in this bull run. I could see Bitcoin hitting $400,000 to $500,000 in this bull cycle.
Anything's possible. It's hard to make predictions, though.
Okay,
it's really not though. It's really not though. Okay, it's not hard. There's history.
I just did this.
Yeah, but it's hard to say like exactly. We don't know.
And what time frame you said? September? Ben?
September 28th. So that's based on what's called the golden bull cycle ratio, which is the number of weeks between the low of the market and the halving, and the all-time high, or and the top of the bull market.
It's the 49-51 ratio.
Yes, it's symmetrical. So
Yeah.
if you we already knew the amount of days that we had from the bottom of the market to the halving. So you take that symmetrical, you take a ratio and you say that's 49%. What's the 51% of that? And you come up with September 28th. That's 504 days from the halving. And so that's generally what we should have. Once again, if it goes outside of that range, give or take a week on either end, it will do something different than it's ever done before.
Yeah, you can see a trading chart of that.
Yes, that's where I got it from.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Trading
All
shot.
right. We love it.
Mm-hmm.
We love it.
No, the question is,
Go big
guys,
or
when
go
do you
home,
think
right?
the real alt season starts? Because this has been a thing that I think everyone's been talking
After
about.
Bitcoin peaks. I think that's
Say it again.
I think after Bitcoin peaks, 2 weeks later, we have the height of the altcoin market.
That's not what we saw before, though. I mean, that's not what we've seen in the past.
It's kind of been alt season now, just kind of the early.
There's an overlap.
When
Altcoin season
Bitcoin
started
went
in
sideways
November.
around 18K.
Yeah.
Alts began to rally.
Yep.
Now as Bitcoin is going up, alts have also been going up. So
Well,
honestly,
last time what
not
happened,
against
Bitcoin
BTC,
went
though.
up, and then ETH went up, Litecoin went up, and then all the other alts went up.
That's no,
Yeah.
but that's not actually. That's when they peaked. That's when they peaked. But if you really go back and look at the altcoin cycle from last time, it really started in the beginning of November. The beginning of November, Bitcoin was not yet. I think Bitcoin was around 12, 13, 14,000 at that point, possibly. I can't remember exactly where it was. But the beginning of November is when Cardano, when Neo, when XRP, when a lot of these started to really, really go up. And I know because I had just gotten in a bunch of them and the price started shooting up. Then Bitcoin hit its all-time high. And then over the next month or about 3.5 weeks, that's when they peaked. But altcoin season really started when Bitcoin was around about $12,000, $13,000.
Here's the thing: if you buy them too early, so there's a month between both peaks. If you buy it before that 2 weeks after the Bitcoin peak, you're actually losing in Bitcoin comparative.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Against BTC, I want to see an alt season because for me, Bitcoin alt pairs are what actually tell me it's alt season. If I see all the alts, like even Ren, all these great alts that had huge moves, like we had like a mini alt season before Bitcoin moved, I would agree with that. But I mean like the real alt season where we see alt pairs outperform Bitcoin at the levels that they did the last cycle. So that's what a lot of people ask me. I think that's coming up, but it's not here yet.
I think it's not till the summer. Honestly.
that part is true. Yeah, it's not here yet.
Yeah.
What do you say?
I think it's not going to come until the summer. I mean, I think May is kind of when we're going to see Bitcoin do some real fireworks. And I think that, sometime over the summer, we're going to, we just saw it over the summer this time. So we've got some, timing precedent for that. And I mean, that may not be that important, but that's what I think. But I think we will see, intermediate altcoin seasons, kind of like we've just had some, when you look at what XRP did and Stellar did, you have some movement of altcoins, but you're right. I think though, there is kind of a misconception. Like if you have a big portfolio, like if you have a lot of money, like if you have, 6 figures may not be a lot of money to some people, but I think if you have 6 figures in crypto, like you've got a really big portfolio right now, like going into what we're about to hit, you can't look at it all the time. Like, well, am I outperforming Bitcoin? I think that you're going to have some bags you just accumulate that you sit that, you've got those for when it does truly pop off, and you've got your Bitcoin bag as well. And then there may be strategic times where you say, okay, for right now this season, I'm going to take a lot of Bitcoin or all my Bitcoin, whatever it is. Like I just did, I traded all my Ethereum for Bitcoin. Bitcoin hit $24,000 or 23.5. That was my plan. I traded all back to Ethereum, and now Bitcoin's still outperforming that a little bit, but I think over the next, month or so, I think Ethereum's gonna have a good run up. So there are certain points where you make some big strategic moves, some huge trades. But outside of that, like accumulate some alts. You know what I'm saying? Just accumulate some, like put some in your portfolio. And then when they do run, you'll get that reward. You can't, when people try to move all of their crypto back and forth too much, that's the number one way people lose, especially with retail investors.
Absolutely. And chasing gains.
Absolutely.
Like when something's super popular, buying it then.
I think you're going to see sector rotations
with
like equities.